Hi everybody, day 32, Tuesday 9th of June 2020. I'm just going back on some early years memories of my life in this church. From being a small child, I was taken, and in those days there would be 4 services every Sunday, 2 Sunday schools and 2 chapels which I would go to. That would be 16 hymns. In the Sunday school we used the Young People's Hymn Book, and then in chapel they used Gadsby's hymn book, 1,000 hymns of the most dreary kind. They changed that later on when the new pastor came, but in those early years, and I don't remember any of those, but strangely I never purposefully memorized any hymns, but to this day all of those hymns that I sang in Sunday school I can remember, all word perfect, no problems. So just observing that, there was no rebellion in my heart. There was no rebellion in my heart. So that obviously there's a core of teaching that I received from those hymns that I never even understood I was being taught. But I delight in them to this day, even though mostly we use modern songs these days. Just a couple of instances of things as when I became a Christian. I got to do a prayer meeting. So one day I turned up with a record player and a recording of Mary Hopkins singing "To everything there is a season and a time, and to every purpose under heaven. Turn, turn, turn." And for that, Uncle John was very displeased. Uncle John would be influential with the new pastor in saying what kind of person I was. He had turned down my offer for him to invite me to his house for a coffee so we could get to know each other, recognising that we weren't gelling very well. He had plumbed my depths, and he didn't need to know me anymore. He had plumbed my depths. So sad that he was there. And so he expressed his disapproval somewhere along the line in that meeting. And somebody told me later on that my dad had him up against the wall in the minister's vestry. I'm excusing that because they were brothers, okay? Wouldn't normally commend that kind of behaviour for deacons, But that was the thing. At one level, that was the thing. The other essence of the church was that the Sunday school was completely different spirit in the Sunday school than it was in the chapel. Chapel was strict, and Sunday school was free. My mum and my auntie Ada, two most beautiful ladies, best friends, most beautiful ladies, were influential in the Sunday school and in the ladies' meetings. So they were a delight. But in the chapel, it was always, couldn't do that, you can't do this thing. And just to say, in those days, Mum and Auntie never did get baptised. And I think it was this, not wanting to be judged, They understood in their spirits. They weren't supposed to be judged. So being little children, they'd understood that, their father, very simple people, just did it, So it was beautiful, that. And I just want to say, too, that the first strict Baptist minister and his wife and children were lovely people. As a family, we got on with them lovely. My wife and our children and their children played together really nicely. But a big thing happened when he first came. He came not knowing and not understanding that our church would do a whip walk with all the other churches in the town. And of course, as a strict Baptist, they don't want to, they don't even really recognise anybody else as a Christian, And that early on made me understand. I reckon look to Billy Graham, and these guys wouldn't have stood on the same platform as Billy Graham. Well, I knew that was not right. I knew that man was full of God, so they'd got it wrong in this way. So he stopped us walking. It was a case of, if you walk, I'm going to walk, I'm going to leave. So we couldn't do that. He's our pastor, so we had to back away from that. We've not got involved with it since. We don't walk with them even to this day. But I think it's an outdated thing. Certainly here in Royton, it's outdated, put it that way, I believe. Just want to share it weren't all bad. Uncle William was a delightful person, and I was in chapel. Said about tithing. I was in chapel one Sunday evening having my tithe would have been 10 shillings, and on the Sunday morning I'd put 5 shillings in. And then in the evening I only had a half a crown, 2 and 6, or a 10 shilling note. So should I put the half a crown in and shortchange God, or should I put the 10 shilling in and overpay? And the thought was simply, God is no man's debtor. So I put the 10 shillings in. Going out to church that day, Uncle William shook my hand, and when I let go, there was a 10 shilling note in my hand. That was lovely. And then I had a van in those days, and we run the young people around. So we did that, and then I came home, went to bed. Kneeling by the side of my bed, said my prayers. So the door opened, and I figured it was my dad, but he would see me that I was praying, so he would, the door closed again. And then when I finished my prayers and opened my eyes, looked around, the door was closed, and there on the bedside cabinet was another 10 shilling note. This is God. This is what God's like. These are the things that taught me what God is like. To trust him. You can trust him, And I wasn't asking anybody for any help with the finances. It just came. It was just this lovely gifting into my life. That's enough for today, isn't it? I'm not sure if we'll do another one of these, or else we'll just go back somewhere and see what we do tomorrow. Okay. Thanks for listening again. I appreciate your fellowship. Amen. God bless.